Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and thank you especially to Nadiya Shah for having me here to be watched. I'm Shelley Stearns, I'm an astrologer, and you can find out more about me on Instagram and YouTube at Astroheart Wellness. I'm here today to talk about the full moon in Cancer. That full moon will be on January 6th, 6:08 p.m. Eastern Time. The full moon is always a time when the sun is opposite the moon. So the story of the full moon always brings in the sun. So we've got moon in Cancer, sun in Capricorn. We're looking at that axis where there's something about our emotions, what nurtures us, and also something about our ambitions and what we're building, creating. This story is going to play out for all of us differently. And for each sign and rising, I have made a little video for you following this about how it's going to play out for you. So listen, follow, you can jump to your sign. I'd love to know what you think. Hey Aries rising. You're the one. You're the one who isn't afraid to go after what you want, what you need, what you see out there in the world that needs to be done. You have the firepower to do that, to take action. And right now, Jupiter is in Aries. Jupiter is the planet that expands everything. So it's sitting right there, right next to your sun or ascendant, telling you to get moving, to get going, to have courage, to go after things. And this can be a really beautiful thing. It also means that you need to find some balance. You need to learn some discernment. And we'll talk about that in a minute as to what things are important right now and what opportunities you want to chase after. So that Aries Jupiter that's going on is in a tense aspect to our full moon in Cancer. So it's a square, which means they butt heads a little bit. So we've got this beautiful Cancer moon in your fourth house of home, and it's bringing up emotions. It's bringing up this nurturing. It's bringing up this sense of connectedness that is probably going to cause a little bit of questioning when it comes to who you are and what you're about. So think about those ancestral connections you have on it might be father's side, it might be mother's side, but the people in your family that you know, or maybe you don't know, but that have played the role of nurturers, or the children in your family. They might have been children in the past, that kind of thing. And look to that during this full moon. That moon also is opposite a bunch of planets that you have in your career house. So you've got a bunch of planets right now in Capricorn. You've got the sun, you've got Mercury, Pluto. They're all playing some games there. So you're likely to have some career opportunities, some career ideas, some movement that you want to take. And there's a balance between this career, this outward expansion, and your home. This can be your physical home. It can be your emotional home. It is all the things that make you feel grounded and connected to a safe space, a sense of belonging. And it also holds the secrets to your belonging and those things that are stopping you from feeling truly connected in that way. So these career opportunities, this home and your identity over here as you're growing, as Jupiter is there, as you're wanting to take action. All this is super important to consider. All that said, right now, you really aren't in the space to dash forward in one direction. We have you're ruled by Mars. You are represented by Mars retrograde in Gemini. So you're not clear really about your next steps. That doesn't mean you can't take some action, but I just want you to understand that things are changing. They have been for a while. And your conversations with others, your communication, it could be written communication, it could be online, it could be a video, for example. But that kind of connecting with other people and gathering information is really important right now, because you are both Mars retrograde in Gemini in the 3rd house of communication, and then we have that Mercury that is also retrograde in your career house. So there's something that's changing, something that you don't have all the information yet. I know all this changeability can be really frustrating. You've been in it for a few months, and because you're in Aries, you want to be able to move forward, to go after that thing, right? And you probably feel this sense of being like a ping pong ball. Know that this is going to be ending fairly soon. Mars is going to go direct mid-January, and then after that, Mercury will go direct. So right now, you're still in that phase of ping-ponging a little bit, of feeling that you don't know exactly what to do and gathering information. It's worth noting, since there's a lot happening in your career sector on this full moon, that also your house of money has some unexpected things that might come up. Your house of money and resources. Look to your networks, your connections for some answers there. Aries, this full moon is really, really, really about your home. So the physical home you live in, those people who you consider to be your home, those experiences you consider to be your home, those pets, all of this stuff, the emotional grounding or lack thereof that you live in, and the influence of your parents on that. You are playing with and learning, like I said, all this retrograde stuff. You're learning more about who you are, how you want to be outward facing, what mission you want to be on, what mission you want to be on for the long haul. Hey there, Taurus and Taurus rising. You have a sensuality to you that really grounds you in your body, that reminds you that yes, we are physical beings on this earth and we're experiencing something. This groundedness and this connection you have with nature really helps you to stay the path. It helps you to be more steady and to know what's up and to know what step to take next. This last cycle, though, you've had Uranus in your sign, and it's a 7-year cycle that we're in about the middle of right now. So there's been some unexpected things, maybe welcome things, maybe unwelcome things, and they're totally revamping your sense of who you are. Not only what your public face is, how you want to present to the world, but also who you are and what you want your mission to be, what you want to go after, what you want to do. So don't be too hard on yourself right now if you're not your usual stable self. You're in the midst of change. And this full moon in Cancer, which is friendly to you, it's sextile Taurus. This full moon in Cancer is in your 3rd house. So the 3rd house is a lot of things. One of them is communication. So we're looking at how you communicate, to whom, and in what ways. And that your ability to communicate right now during this full moon is stronger. Your ability to be seen with your voice. It is important to note that Mercury is retrograde, so this is a time for misunderstandings. But your voice and the beauty of your voice is what matters. Go for the sensual component. If you sing, sing. If you write, write. Make it beautiful. If it's just a YouTube video, make it beautiful. If it's just a posting on your Facebook, make it beautiful. If it's going to your neighbor and saying hello, make it beautiful. So neighbors is also a third house thing. So we're talking about your physical neighbors, your metaphorical neighbors, and perhaps as well, little journeys that you might take close to home, less than a day in length, that give you insight, that give you nourishment, that help to feed your emotional soul and to help you to understand who you are in the midst of instability, in the midst of unpredictability. This full moon is likely to highlight emotions, and if there's fear, anger, anxiety, all these things coming up, sit with them and give them the space just to tell you what they might want. And I think that if you do take those little journeys, you might get some insight. That said, this full moon is, of course, opposite the sun, as all full moons are. Sun in Capricorn is highlighting your 9th house. So we have this 3rd house, 9th house thing going on. And one of the things that could be is travel. The 9th house is about foreign travel, long distance travel. The 3rd house is more about close to home, day trips. But all of these are about journeys that we make. If you're planning a trip or a move abroad, let yourself give it a little time, because we have a couple retrograde planets, Mars and Mercury, and they have something to do with your financial situation. So you don't know the full picture yet. So just, if you wait till January 20th about there, you're going to have more information and you can move forward from there. And that full moon is highlighting this, that full moon in Cancer. That full moon in Cancer is highlighting, of course, your ability to carry this out, whatever you decide, but also the emotions that will come up with it. If you have children, this might also be a story about them, about their journeys, their foreign travel, or perhaps an investment in their education. So you've had your 10th house highlighted for a while now. Saturn has been in Aquarius, and that has been going through your 10th house of career. There's just a couple more months left here. And when we talk about Saturn, we're talking about those things that take time, effort, that you build over time. Saturn is a 29.5-year cycle. So those things you're setting in motion now for your career life are benefited by the hard work you're putting in. It doesn't mean that you're manifesting the stories now. You don't even have to know exactly what that's going to look like for you, but it does mean that the work you're putting into it will pay off. Saturn will move into Pisces in March, so you have a couple more months to play with that. And also Venus is there right now. So for this full moon and the time of this full moon, when you're looking at your finances, waiting it out, considering some journeys, some travel, and perhaps supporting your children, there is also an element of the work you do to build your career, to build that legacy that you want to present to the world. So Taurus, if you start to feel a little unsteady, go back to those things that ground you, to your senses, to nature. Take a walk, smell things. Let yourself have moments where you have nothing to answer to and everything to experience. And these moments will help you to build those structures that you need to be able to face those unexpected challenges and to wait it out so that you're ready to make those decisions. Hey there, Gemini and Gemini rising. You tend to be a fun person and you bring excitement because you bring both that intellectual stimulation and just that fun component. You don't always want to be doing it, but it's part of who you are and it's part of what you need. You need to move. You need to get new ideas and you need to have new discoveries. So this is an important part of who you are. You're never going to be someone who's like very linear all the time about everything. Right now, though, we have Mars retrograde in Gemini, and this is one of the biggest things that's happening in your chart right now. Mars retrograde. Mars is about action. It's about getting things done. It's in your sign, so you're having this rush and flush of energy and excitement. But it can also feel, because it is retrograde, that there's just stuff you're ready to let go of that you don't want to do anymore. There's agitation coming from other people, from outside of you. All of this is revamping. It's revamping who you are. It's allowing you to question and change parts of yourself. This full moon cycle for you has a lot to do with your personal resources, as well as those resources you share with other people. So the moon is in Cancer in your second house. The second house is your personal resources. It's the house of what belongs to you. So you might be talking about money. You might be talking about other tangible items. It can also be more nebulous things that are hard to grasp onto, like self-esteem. So all these things are getting a boost during this full moon, getting shown more brightly. Because at the same time, the moon is in your second house of your resources, and it's a full moon, the sun is opposite the moon. This is the house of other people's resources and of your resources that are commingled with other people's resources by proxy. So this could be a partner. For example, we're talking about contracts of some sort. So this can be a written contract, it can be a verbal contract, and also a contract that just sort of happens by nature of how we act and do things. Contracts aren't always agreed upon, like by, yes, I do. Sometimes it's just about the actions we take that build a structure over time that is basically a contract. And really, I say this because Capricorn is your 8th house. So structures that you build over time are really, really, really what your 8th house is about. You've got a few planets there, so that's also getting highlighted. So those resources that come from other people that commingle with your own. And that Mercury retrograde is one of those planets. So we're looking at Mercury, which rules you in the house of your combined resources. So you're playing a part right now in something that has to do with something that you share with other people. So look to any partnerships you have in your life. Now, this can be really obvious, like a marriage partner, someone you're in a marriage type relationship with but aren't married to. It could also be a business partner or partners in any of these senses. It's really about those people that you're building contracts with. It could be a family member, such as someone that is giving you something like money or emotional things like that stuff that you carry because it's been passed down to you from your parents. All of this is going to be highlighted with the full moon because the full moon is your resources. This part of it is that commingled resources. So there is a story this full moon about those two things. And pay attention to the boundaries of what is yours and what is shared, opening up yourself to what makes sense, but also being aware that there's a certain amount of work that has to be done in order to have these combined resources. And you are still in a little bit of back and forth phase, a little bit of unsureness. And I suggest you use your wonderful abilities to gather information. Take the time right now to explore. You're really good at it. Use your natural abilities to network, to commingle, to gather information. See what's possible. See what expansive new thing you can learn and do. Gather that information. And then when Mars goes direct mid-month and after Mercury goes direct a little bit after that, you'll be able to know what it is you actually want. So we're talking about using your emotions, using that ability to move forward, and building those things over time, right? Like, what things do you want to commingle with other people? What resources do you want to build with someone else? And which ones do you want to keep for yourself? And which ones are theirs that you don't want to commingle? This process is important. And right now, you're still in the discovery phase. So just hold on, let yourself explore, sink into the emotional component, be your beautiful, bold self, and just have a little fun while you're at it. Hey there, Cancer and Cancer rising. This is the one time of year when the moon is full and in your sign. You are ruled by the moon, so you know that the moon's phases and its signs have a particular influence on you. When it's in your sign, you're more vibrant. People can see you. What you do is more noticed. And when it's a full moon, this is bright. You are shining right now. And people can see that example and they can be inspired. This full moon is not only highlighting your accomplishments, making you visible, but it's also bringing a question of what it is you want to be visible. What is your public face? What is your persona? And how do you want people to see that? This is an opportunity to look at those things and make adjustments where needed. The full moon, of course, is opposite the sun. As full moons are, they're always opposite the sun. So your relationships, your seventh house, are highlighted as well. We're talking about what you are as an individual and what you are in relationship, and that other person and how you come together. And then that balance of alone time, time in partnership, and what that means for you and what you want that to look like. Because your seventh house is Capricorn, Saturn ruled Capricorn, you're very good at building structures and relationships. You're good at building those things that last. Also, that Capricorn can sometimes feel a little heavy. It might feel a little heavy right now. It might feel a little intense because Pluto is there. And there's an element of uncertainty because Mercury is retrograde and it is also in your seventh house. So there's a question about what you want your partnerships to look like and what they are bringing to the table. So when I say partnerships, I'm talking about those things that are more contract-like. They could be written contracts, they could be verbal contracts, but also just the contracts that we make over time by nature of who we are and what we do, those little steps and actions we make in the world. These are often romantic partnerships. They are often things like marriages or marriage-like relationships, but they can also be business partnerships or clients, people that you work with. You might have an idea of what this is for you in this moment, but consider all of the options. Even though there's an element of uncertainty and you may not know exactly how you want this to play out or what's going on, your partners are in a good financial situation. Their resources and the resources that become your combined resources are ruled by Saturn. And Saturn in Aquarius, this is a very strong placement. It's good for finances. It's good for shared resources. You might be a little uncertain about your own because there's that retrograde component and some stuff going on, but it's not that you need to worry right now. It's just that you need to tell yourself, I don't have all the information and I don't know yet what step to take next. The retrograde is going to end, Mars retrograde mid-month, and then January 20th, we should have a better picture for you of what you want to do to move forward because Mercury and Mars will both be going direct. So Jupiter right now, Jupiter in Aries is back in your 10th house of career, and this is going to bring you some opportunities. Now, opportunities are opportunities. They may be ones you want to hold on to, ones you want to grasp, ones you want to pursue, and they might be ones that just aren't right for you right now. So allow yourself in this retrograde period that's still happening to just explore and feel out what it is that's right for you, what it is you want moving forward, so that when that shiny fruit is dangled in your face, you'll realize that even though it's beautiful and shiny, that particular thing might not be for you, and you'll be able to say no to it. Or that shiny fruit, you'll be like, yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh, that's it. Thank you. And you can grasp onto it, and you can do the work to move forward. You have a lot of opportunity right now and a lot of visibility. Let yourself be seen. Let yourself take the risks you need to take, and know that you have the power. You have the strength within you, and you don't need to worry about not being good enough or not being capable or the world crashing in all over you. There are some things that are uncertain for sure, and you don't have the full picture. And that's great because you're exploring right now. You're in an exploratory phase, and you can move forward a little bit later knowing that you gathered your information, that you went into your relationships and did the work, you talked to the people involved, and you figured out what was the best step for all of you. And that step is going to be something that brings you joy. And it might be some work and it might be some effort, but you're up for it, and you're up for the leadership that it takes. Hey, Leo rising, you can be a lot of fun. You've got this fiery energy, the sun rules you, and you really, like, your mission is that you have to share yourself with others. You have that vibrant light, and it's inspiring. And you also bring out other people's creativity, other people's specialness, their light. That's the power of Leo. Now, you may be feeling a little bit stifled right now, a little bit less outwardly shiny. And that's because there's a lot of planets in Capricorn in your 6th house. So you've been tending to routine, to daily life, possibly to your health. And I bet you it has something to do with your mission of shining so brightly. So with all this hard work, you're likely looking for something that you're not getting from colleagues or from your network, something. Those people you might be experiencing as indecisive, a little wishy-washy, not willing to commit, to put in the work. That's because Mercury is retrograde, Mars is retrograde. There's just a lot going on right now. And that retrogradeness is highlighting that area of colleagues, of networks. So we have the full moon in Cancer coming up, highlighting some of those issues with your daily routine and letting you explore some of your opportunities. And I want to say, Leo, my kitty always comes up when I'm doing Leo videos. It's the weirdest thing. For now, you don't need to have an attachment to the way things are going to happen or exactly what's going to happen. Now, Mars will be going direct mid-January, and Mercury will be following after that. And then you'll be able to have some more momentum to move forward and a clear idea of where you're going and where your colleagues or your associates are at with this. All those networks that you're trying to dig into, they're going to be more cooperative after everything goes direct. Right now, that moon in your 12th house, that Cancer, that emotional moon in your 12th house, is really telling you to go inward, to take the time to balance that work life that you have. And when I say work, I don't necessarily mean the things you do to make money, although that's a part of it. I mean your routine, the way you live your life, the work that you might be doing in your relationships, in your daily life. It can be shoveling the snow, right? It's something that is part of your routine. So revamping all of that to make your life not just more efficient, but more fulfilling. And that Cancer moon is there highlighting your 12th house, so this 12th house sector is something that you might not normally explore. So just take the time to be present with yourself and carve it in how you can. If you can take a week, take a week. If you can take a day, take a day. If it's 5 minutes, really, really try to just let that be the thing you do for 5 minutes. Find ways to just be with yourself and see what comes up. It's important that you do get in touch with what you really want, what you really need, what's really important to you, and you don't let the distractions of every day and the routine and just kind of pushing forward dominate. And it may always be important, but right now, Jupiter just went into Aries again. So Jupiter in Aries is likely to prod you. It's likely to say, go, go. And maybe you do need to go, but if you haven't discerned what it is that you're going after, what's important to you, you're going to find yourself way out there and then realize this wasn't the right thing for me. So this is why this Cancer full moon is so important right now. It's so important for you to take the time, to carve out the time to see where it is that you really want to be going, to get in touch with your emotional center. And from there, use that Jupiterian energy, that fire energy that's going to be there until mid-May to help you move forward, to grasp onto those opportunities that matter, that are really, really going to be part of your overall mission and help you to shine with your brightest light. Hey there, Virgo and Virgo rising. There are a lot of people who, in the end, really appreciate the quality of what you do, that dedication you have to everything that you put yourself in. And those people who don't understand you, they call you a perfectionist, they call you nitpicky. What they don't realize is that you really don't have a way to not see all those details. And all those details are giving you information constantly, and you're having to break them down, try to combine them into a larger whole and make sense of them. Right now with Mercury retrograde, Mercury being your chart ruler and Mercury representing part of that beautiful intellectual quality that you have and that ability to refine things and make them into something useful. Mercury is retrograde and it's in your 5th house. So we're talking about you yourself right now are experiencing a lot of those details. Don't worry about figuring it out. It's not the time. Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde until about January 20th are going to be giving you the time and the opportunity to explore. So let yourself explore and don't put the pressure on yourself to produce a product or to get to a certain level of something or get a certain amount of something done. This is the time to explore, and being your 5th house, creativity is really important. Whatever it is that you could do to express yourself. So there's a lot of planets in Capricorn, Sun, Mercury, and Pluto in your 5th house, giving you some oomph to create, giving you a little bit of push to take some risks. Mercury is retrograde, so you're unsure about what it is the best thing for you, and that's okay. The full moon in Cancer is highlighting all this because it's in the opposite house, in your 11th house, and it's going past those planets, highlighting each one as it goes by. You are going to find that there's something about that vast network of people you know, your friends, all of that is going to be helpful. Look to any sort of professional organizations you're a part of. Look for those people and situations that nurture you, that have a component to them that vibes with who you are. It's not just about sending a mass email out to everybody or blasting everyone's DMs. You are reaching out to people ideally that you feel some sort of kinship with, that have the same ideals as you. these will inform your career choices. Right now, Mars is retrograde in your 10th house of career, and it's been there for a few months, and it's likely to have been causing you some sense of agitation because as a Virgo, you like to do things right and you want to do things in a way that you can mold. So you want to have an outcome that's predictable. Mars retrograde, and particularly in Gemini, is not going to let you do that. It's about exploring. It's about finding things out. It's about getting all this different little bits of information and applying it. So while this Mars is still retrograde until mid-January, let yourself off the hook. Just breathe. Just keep exploring. Flitter around. So you do have a 10th house Gemini, which is about fluttering around, making connections, learning things, doing a lot of things at once. So while Mars is retrograde there, you are still going to have more of that unsureness, not knowing where you're going next. And that's okay. Let yourself be in that story for now. And then mid-month, maybe a little bit after that, you can start to implement your plan. Do consider, Virgo, that your daily routine is really important. And as someone who pays attention to all the details, and you probably have experienced that planning out of all the details, how the day is going to unfold over time, play around with changing things up. You're building the structure, and what it is that you do and how you spend your time is going to contribute to your success. Another thing, Virgo, your creativity, that risk, that thing you can bring into your career, into your daily life, it's also something I encourage you to apply in your relationships. These could be romantic relationships or they could be business partnerships, but there is a boon to your partner's resources right now. And these are becoming your resources. But there's a way with which you can play with this where you're passive or where you're active. We have Jupiter in Aries in your 8th house, and it's going to bring opportunities that you may want and ones that you may not. So I encourage you to figure out what it is you want and what it is you don't want. And when something presents itself, you can boldly grasp onto it and contribute your part of it to really make it a shared resource and be creative about how that might happen. If Jupiter isn't discerning, but you are, you're Mercury ruled, and so you have that ability naturally to discern. You also have that tendency to passively let things happen. So I encourage you to really just draw on your strength and your creativity and move forward, even though you're not sure, or even though there might be some signs from somewhere telling you that you're not good enough, that this isn't going to work out. It's really about the process. It's about moving through the details and creating something that is truly yours. Hey there, Libra and Libra rising. You're the diplomat. You bring people together. You can take people on totally opposing sides of a situation and get them to actually talk to each other. And you can also bring beauty and harmony to almost any situation. Cancer, on the other hand, Cancer full moon that's happening, it's a little bit different than you. Cancer moon is more likely to bring up strong emotions and brutal honesty. And I mean brutal honesty about one's emotions. So for you who likes something to be more balanced and harmonious, this can feel uncomfortable and tense. On the other hand, this is highlighting your career. You are visible right now. This means that you are being seen, and the actions that you take and what you do can have quite an impact. it's a really good time to take calculated risks. Use your creativity to build structures that will last over time. Libra, and you might know that you're Venus ruled, but you're also Saturn ruled. Saturn is the secondary ruler of Libra. Saturn is about structures. So we're talking about your ability right now with Saturn in Aquarius, which is a very strong Saturn, to build structures over time. That Saturn is in your 5th house of risk along with your Venus ruler. So risk taking is really, really beneficial right now. Calculated risk taking, like I said. So take your career, take your public face, what you want to put out there in the world, and make some plans to build. So use that full moon that might have you or someone else a little bit emotional to take advantage of the power of emotion. So what I mean by that is listen to the emotion, draw it in, and see what it's telling you, and then use your ability to build structures based on what it is your heart truly wants, and go from there. So Libra, you've got the full moon in Cancer up in your career house, your public face, what you're contributing to the world, but also because it's a full moon, we have the sun opposite the moon, the sun in Capricorn down in your home, your 4th house sector. So this is your physical home. This might be a revamping of your physical environment, the harmony and the beauty that you create there. It's Capricorn, so you're adding structure to it, as always. Taking some risks with how you evaluate what your home is. What is it that your home? Is it a physical space? Is it an emotional space? Is it people? What is it that you consider to be the thing that draws you, gives you security and a balance? With that, the people who are in your home are going to be contributing to this story. So if you live alone, that's you, but you might also be contacting and conversing with other people in your life about your home, what it is you're going to create for your home. If you want other people there in the future, making those sorts of intentions, setting those out there, and doing the things that will get you to the point of how you want your home to be. If there's someone else you're living with, that person or people are also consulted when you make changes about your home, and that all of you agree on how this home is going to be built and grow and nourished. Libra, if you're thinking about buying a home, selling a home, renting a new space, any of those kind of things where you're going to enter into a written contract, I would encourage you to wait until January 20th because we have some planets retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde, and they're telling a story about your home and the possibility of something with contracts and the law. If you can wait, because there's likely to be new information that's going to come out at that point. If you can't, that's okay. Just really, really, really take your time. And don't let yourself get caught up in those emotions. You can feel those emotions, but don't let yourself get ruled by them or get carried away by them. It's a beautiful house, or it's not a great place. There might be more to the story. So ask a lot of questions. Ask, and use your innate charm. Use that charm to get more information, to pull more information out of people, and also to help you delay if you need to delay. Don't feel pressured to jump in. Like I said, you are ruled by Saturn. You're ruled by Venus, but you're also ruled by Saturn. So you have that ability to really, really, really be savvy and build those structures for the home that you want, for the home that you will be the most comfortable in. So Libra, your home life is highlighted, your career is highlighted, and yes, your relationships are highlighted. Your 7th house of relationships has now Jupiter in it. Aries Jupiter has re-entered your 7th house. And this means opportunities for you. People are going to come into your life that want to be in relationship with you in one way or another, romantic relationships, partnerships, all the things. And you like relationships. So this is awesome, right? What you need to do is use discernment, because you know more than anyone else, not all those relationships are good for you, and not all of them are going to be what you need. So while Jupiter in Aries is giving you this wonderful opportunity, it's also giving you a wonderful opportunity to say no, to put up those boundaries when you need to. So all of these things are really positive for you. You have the opportunities. You have the ability to create structures. This is a time to take risks, calculated risks, and use your discernment to move forward. And then also use your great big Libra heart. Create some harmony, create some balance for yourself as well as other people. Hey there, Scorpio and Scorpio rising. This full moon in Cancer, the emotional sign in your 9th house, is really highlighting an opportunity to explore your spiritual and religious leanings. It's highlighting the 3rd 9th house axis. So we have that Cancer moon in the 9th house and the sun in Capricorn, along with Mercury and Pluto in the 3rd house. So traditionally, the 3rd and 9th house are called the houses of the goddess, the 3rd house, and the god, the 9th house. So you could think of this literally if that's how you lean, or you can think of it as a spirituality that is outward, that is public, versus a spirituality that is more underground. So we're talking about those things that you express that people know about, and then those things that are more inner and kind of safely held. They could be held with a few other people, or they could be just yours alone. So something else that might be coming up during this full moon is an opportunity to travel. So first, think about those journeys that you can make close to home, something that's short, that can take a day, 2 days, maybe a weekend, but it's not that far. Explore those things that you maybe don't always explore because they're too close to you. Mercury is retrograde there, and so there is a story about how this information that you're gathering right now from those journeys, from your neighbors, is not fully formed. So it's an exploratory time. So there is the possibility of foreign travel, influence from foreigners, or just an expansion of your ideas, an exploration of what's out there, the philosophical ways in which we can live and see the world. You are ruled by Mars, and Mars right now is retrograde, and it has been for a few months. So this might have felt a little unsettling. You are by nature right now in an exploration phase of your life. So seize on that opportunity that this full moon is bringing and highlighting these things, and let yourself continue to explore. Now, I know this Mars retrograde can be a little challenging. It might be bringing up emotions, anger, jealousy, fear, all the things. And that's great. That's totally fine. If it's bringing those things up, sit with them a little bit and just let them be present. And trust your instincts. Let yourself slowly move forward. There is a question right now that you might be having about partnerships. And this Mars retrograde is in the house of shared resources. So something here is uncertain, and It's been uncertain for a little while. So Mars is going to go direct mid-month, and then Mercury will go direct right after that. So about January 20th, you're going to have a better ability to move forward and really understand and make decisions about these shared resources. So what do you want from these shared resources? What do you want them to look like? What do you want to put that's yours into them, and what do you expect from this other person? Now, this might be a business partnership, it might be a romantic partnership, or it might just be things coming to you from like family, other areas. But it has something to do with something where you merge your resources with someone else's. Perhaps money, perhaps something less tangible. It can be emotional currency. So the 8th house is about contracts. So this is most definitely written contracts. It's most definitely verbal contracts. Think about those, but also think about the things that happen over time because we act a certain way, because we do certain things. Use this time right now of this full moon in the next couple weeks to explore and suss it out. You have a lot going on, and you might feel like with Jupiter coming into your 6th house that your daily routine is just being blown up all over the place, a lot of demands on you, and you might be questioning your partnerships because Uranus has been going through your 7th house. It's going to continue to do this. So remember that even though it's them, those other people that may seem unsure and uncertain and maybe changeable, it's really also about you because Uranus is going through your 7th house. It's shaking up things for you, and it's touching this 1st house component. It's opposite your 1st house. The 1st house represents you, your public face, how you present yourself, and that is getting a shakeup. So all these things are happening, and the full moon is giving you an opportunity to go deep within yourself and to explore. And all this retrograde stuff is saying, yeah, it's not quite time yet. I don't have to make a decision. So just use it. Use it to boldly move forward, to boldly explore, to get in the depths of who you are and what the situation is before you move forward. Hey there, Sag and Sag rising. You are fiery and bold. You go after things. You're on a quest, on a mission all the time. You're curious and you want to find that truth. And the thing is, you really don't like being tied down a lot of the time. So the reason I mention this about being tied down is that Cancer is in your 8th house, and this is where the Cancer full moon is. So we're talking about the house of other people. This is other people's resources and how they merge with your own. So this is about companionship. This is the house where you're going to find money, emotions, all these things that come from other people, that you create and build from other people, that you can use. So this is likely a romantic partner. It's also likely a business partner. We're talking about contracts here. This is the house of contracts. So it might be a paper contract, something you actually signed. It might be a verbal contract. It can also be those little unspoken contracts. Those seep into our lives. Those things we create by just doing and acting a certain way. So Cancer, it's a beautiful placement for the moon. So this is going to bode well for you. There might be something coming from your partnerships that's an opportunity, either financially, emotionally, or otherwise. This opportunity can be a lot of different things. If you have children, I'm betting they're going to play into this somehow. There's something about taking a risk, being creative, and doing it with someone else. So this story has a lot to say about your personal finances. So we have this dance between what is yours and what is your partner's and yours. And what is your partner's that thereby becomes yours by being with your partner. So be aware of your boundaries, the flow, the give and take that you have in your relationships, in your partnerships, and use that energy to help you create something bigger. Now, the other piece of this is that your partners, you might be experiencing them as a little bit wishy-washy. Just dance the dance. You've got retrograde planets happening here. Mars retrograde in your 7th, Mercury retrograde in your 2nd, representing the 7th house. So that Mercury in your chart, Mercury retrograde, represents your partner. There's a lot of, for the moment, unpredictability. So just let that happen, let that vibe, and let yourself be a little open to things, a little open to those ties that bind. So Sag, there's also a possibility that you're getting something from someone else, like your parents or someone important in your life. Now, it could be a financial inheritance, or we could just be talking about an emotional inheritance, because here we have Cancer, which is all about emotions. So it's a good time to let yourself be present with those emotions and process them, right? Because there's so many stories that we have from our ancestors that come to us, and 8th house is going to bring that stuff up. So if you have children, they're likely to play a role in this story. Think about the risks you take right now, and especially those financial risks and those risks that involve other people, and have a dialogue with those people and play around with the possibilities, like mentally, verbally, play around with the possibilities that this sort of interaction can bring for you. If you don't have children, this can be your creative endeavors or just your awareness of that risk taking, of what it means to step out there and be a bold, fiery person like you. That quest for truth and meaning, how you have to put a lot of yourself into it, and you have to be willing to take the risks that sometimes are not the traditional things we think of as risky, right? Sometimes we think jetting out on our own, that's risky, but being in partnership is also risky. So you need to find that balance between the two and be honest, as you like doing. Be honest with yourself and others about where you're at, what you can give to the table, and what you're willing to negotiate. And then just go from there and let your emotions be a part of the story. Cancer moon really, really wants you to explore that component, to explore the emotional and sexual component of yourself, of your being. Hey there, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. People like your reliability. They like your dependability. They like that they know you're going to be there. And when we have the full moon in Cancer, this means that your relationship house is being highlighted. It could be bringing people in who want to depend on that reliability that you have. Maybe they're already in your life. Maybe they're new people. To you, they may seem like a little bit back and forth because your 7th house is ruled by Cancer. Cancer does not do things directly. They move from side to side to get to a goal. So you have to have a little patience with them because they come around eventually. They're getting there. They're just doing it in a different way than might seem logical. The other thing that you might be experiencing is some emotions that you feel like are maybe irrational or getting in the way of a combined goal. The thing about you that many people don't know is that you actually really like risks. You like risk taking. You calculate your risks. And right now with Uranus in your 5th house, it's harder for you to calculate those risks because they're coming Those opportunities are coming, those unexpected events, they come from different directions. So these relationships, signified by your 7th house, the moon in Cancer moving through that house, are going to have something to say about this next month for you. There may be some erotic opportunity, and there may be some question of resources and what is a shared resource between you and either a romantic partner or a business partner. So with this story of your shared resources, first look to your own resources. Right now with Saturn in Aquarius, this has been a time for restructuring of your resources. These past couple years, you've learned some things about money, about how you make money and how you want to continue to make money. So this is a strong component of your resources, and then that shared component is still being sussed out. There's a little bit of you don't know all the answers yet. You don't know how this is going to go because we have some planets retrograde, Mercury and Mars. And there's a lot to do with the story of your daily routine. So really look to your daily routine, how you do things, how you get things done, as well as signals from your health. All of these are important right now, and they're helping to contribute to what it is that you want with other people. What do you want with these partnerships? And what are these combined resources going to look like? What are your expectations from that person, from these people? And what is it that they want from you? Just make sure that you're both clear. All parties are clear about what you want the end result to be. So really think about what it is that you want from your relationships, what it is that you want from your combined resources, from these contracts that you have with other people, business and romantic partnerships. Make sure that everyone involved is part of the conversation and has time to express what they want, and you have time to discuss it back and forth. While we're still in these retrograde cycles of Mars and Mercury, you're still learning, you're still gathering information. June 20th and onward will be a better time to actually implement these plans. That full moon, like I said, is emphasizing your partnerships, emphasizing your emotional life, and look to those things within these partnerships that give you nurturing and allow you to nurture others. Like I said in the beginning, you're known for this in your own way, and then your partners are known for it in a different way. Your combined abilities can help each other. So you're being offered something about your home life that could change, but doesn't have to. So Aries, Jupiter in Aries is going to bring things that are flamboyant, that are direct, that are full of life and power and vitality. And they might be a little agitating and they might be exciting. But once you've set yourself up with these conversations, with this experience, and you know what you want, when these opportunities arise, you can go after them. And you can take those risks. You can take those risks that you secretly love and go after them. But only the risks that make sense to you, not the risks that are just there and happen to trip into your life. Hey, Aquarius and Aquarius rising, you have a really strong sense of self. You know what's important to you, you know what you want, and you know how to get it. You know how to take the time and the steps to get there, and you're not easily swayed by other people's opinion. In fact, you influence other people all the time. These past 2 years, however, you've had Saturn in your sign and you've been challenged. You've been changing your ideas of who you are, of what it takes to get to where you want to be, possibly changing entirely where it is you want to go. Saturn has been in your sign. So you're almost at the end of the Saturn phase. Saturn in Aquarius will move on to Saturn in Pisces in March. So you've got a little more time where some challenges might come up, make some adjustments to your sense of self. And one of those things that the full moon in Cancer is highlighting that you might take a look at is your daily routine. What is it that you do every day? Those little things, those habits that contribute to who you are and the outcome that you have, the influence that you have. Look at things like your exercise routine, your food. What do you put into your body? How do you sleep? When do you sleep? And when you have a task to do, how do you do it? When you have a long-term goal, when you have work that needs to be done, when do you do it? What time of day is the best for you? Are you also right now during this full moon, the time when Cancer traverses your 6th house of daily routines, you might feel a little bit of pressure to get things done, to work really hard. That's okay if that's what you need to do, but use it. Use this experience to tell you what works and what doesn't work for you. And then next time this comes around, you'll have a better structure in place. Because this full moon is in Cancer, it is bound to bring up some emotions. And this isn't something that you thrive on usually, but it is a time to notice and to take note of those emotions and just listen to them a little bit and see what they're telling you. Now, I'm not saying do what they're telling you, but they're going to bring up information about what is the best way to structure, what is the best way to live your life. So take that into account. Let yourself bring a little bit of play, a little bit of childlike quality into your daily life and see if that helps you. And look to those things that nurture you, that truly, truly feed you. All of this is going to be important while you have these last few weeks, couple months of Saturn in your sign to help you build those structures that you're going to use for the next 29 and a half years. That's a Saturn cycle, and that's where we're at right now. So see where that takes you. And then also consider your relationships because they're being highlighted. So they might be romantic partners, they might be business partners, but someone you hold some kind of contractual relationship with. This might be spoken, written, or not expressed at all. The way that you structure your life, the way that you live your life is going to put you into situations with other people that by nature turn into habits. So this full moon, while it is highlighting your daily routine, it is also telling a story about you and your relationship partners. There is going to be a push-pull, a tug of back and forth over what is time that you need to be alone, time where you really need to set with yourself, with your thoughts, with your process, and what is time to spend with others. It's not a simple answer. In all of this process, just make sure that you really take the time out for yourself. Be honest and open about it, communicate with the people in your life, and know that you don't know everything yet because we have some retrograde planets, Mars and Mercury, and they're telling a story about really the risks you take, the people you know, and how you can influence all of that by influencing your own actions. You have opportunities coming from your social networks, from your work groups, from those many connections that you make. And you have the ability right now with Jupiter and Aries in your 3rd house of communication to speak for the group, to make your voice heard, to amplify the voice of all, of everyone. So that's part of your full moon story, and it will extend past the full moon. But it, to me, is part of this story of you your relationships, your daily routine, and how this all plays together to make a beautiful picture of you and your influence on the world and your own standing with yourself. Hey there, Pisces and Pisces rising. When I think of you, one of the first things that comes to mind is generosity. You have this way about you where you just flow. Things flow into you and things flow from you. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that you're a fish, two fishes swimming in the water. That current takes you to a lot of amazing places. And right now, the full moon in Cancer is in your 5th house. So your natural ability to share yourself is highlighted. The 5th house is about those things that you're creative with. So your imagination is really, really, really beneficial right now. Let those juices flow. And you might be a painter, you might be an accountant. There are ways in which you can use your creativity in everything that you do. And you bring it to the table and share with others. This 5th house is about other things too. You're likely to have some erotic opportunities, and those people are going to benefit so much from both your generosity and your creativity. Let them give back to you as well, and together you can create something beautiful. This house is about risk. It's about taking risks. And as a Pisces, you do that. You like to take risks. You like to be safe in a lot of ways, but you also want to advance. You want to explore. You see how things are permeable and changeable, and you don't see these strict boundaries around things that a lot of people see. And that risk taking can be beneficial to you. So Pisces, your 11th house is highlighted as well because this is opposite the 5th, Sun in Capricorn, opposite Moon in Cancer. So the reason I'm bringing this up when we're talking about risk taking and your ability to flow is that your 11th house is very structured. So the 11th house is ruled by Capricorn. It's Saturn. Saturn is about those boundaries, those structures, and those things that we build over time. And it has to do with your networks, those people that you can tap into to help, your professional organizations, perhaps. And in this situation, they might be calling on you for help. So step back and discern whether the help that you are being asked to give is something that you have to give. Mercury is retrograde and showing up in this house. So there might be a business partner, someone that you do business with, who is a little bit undecided about something, who is moving back and forth. And Mercury will go direct about the 20th of January. So if you have the time before you commit to something or make decisions on something, just let it go for a little bit and see what comes out, because there's likely to be information that you don't have yet. In addition to that, if you do have to act sooner, just really use your ability to intuit, but also to make people feel comfortable and to get information out of them. Not in a sleazy way, but in a heart-to-heart sort of way that you're so good at. Talk to them, see where they're coming from, feel their emotional center, and the amount that they're willing to commit to this endeavor. That is going to help you know what you want to give as well. So there's a little bit I want to talk about before I go, and that is Jupiter in your 2nd house. Jupiter is your chart ruler. It is the ruler of Pisces, and it's part of what makes you so open and so abundant. Jupiter is in your 2nd house right now in Aries. This is going to bring opportunity to your finances, to your resources. Now, it could be that you just get money, but it's likely to come with some sort of condition. there's going to be an opportunity from your career sector, and you're going to have to decide if that's what you want. Is this something that is beneficial for you? And Aries is bold and fiery. There's going to be more than one opportunity, different things. All of them are not going to be right. So do what you need to do and use your own power of discernment, but call in other people just to get ideas. So those opportunities, when they come to you, you'll know which ones to grasp onto. And if you don't know right away, let them set overnight, dream on them, sleep on them, see if that helps. You are likely to have something happening right now in your home sector because you have this financial opportunity coming to you, as well as Mars in your 4th house telling you, well, this is a good time to renovate the home, to buy a new home, stuff like that. Maybe someone's moving in. All these things are major changes for you, and it's not like you haven't thought about them before. It's just that Mars isn't direct yet. So give it till mid-month and then feel it out. And if it's right for you, you could have a great opportunity. Overall, this full moon is really, really great for you because, like I said, your imagination is your strong point. Your ability to give is your strong point. So let this stuff flow from you and let yourself connect with those people who give back, and you'll be in a much better place.